What up, what up, what up, Red Raiders? It's Seeing Scarlet. It's Sibby, joined by always Shelby. We've never done this show solo. So Shelby's here.
That would
And
be
we're
no.
can you imagine
Mm-mm.
just one
I'd
show
quit.
of a solo show? I don't know if
Couldn't
anybody
do it.
would watch it, but maybe they would. But we're excited to have y'all here. We have some topics as usual. We're going to start with women's basketball. We're going to start with our hoops. We're going to start with all basketball. We're going to start with the NWSL Draft coming up tomorrow. Huge news. You get to find out and learn who's going to the draft and what we're thinking about that. And then I asked Shelby this. I was like, how are we already getting ready for track? We're getting ready for softball and baseball. Like those, we got to kick the dirt off. Let's go.
That's a lot.
So there's never a sleep schedule for us, and we're excited to bring y'all along the ride. So we're gonna start it off with some hoops, Shelby. Wait, no, we got to start with some corrections,
Oh,
right?
a new segment,
Is that what
right?
you want to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Let's
should do it
start.
now.
No, let's start it off. So last week, we decided. Listen, we're always gonna correct ourselves if we get something wrong. So we appreciate. We had someone reach out and let us know the correct pronunciation on the
Yeah.
new goalkeeper, one of the new goalkeepers for the Texas Tech soccer team. Grace Pilling is how you say her
I
name.
don't.
Remember it. Know the name. She's gonna be a good player. We have a lot of good goalkeepers in that room. I don't know who's going to end up out on the field next year, but she's a very, very good talent, as we talked about
Mhm.
last year. So Grace Pilling, that is the correction. Boom. Also, we're going to let Sibby talk about the NWSL draft in a second for a bit before we get into basketball, because that is tomorrow night. And
Ooh.
Wikipedia led us astray last week because Wikipedia said it was only 2 rounds. Good news, we get 4 rounds, y'all. 4 rounds, 56 picks for a chance for our gals, all three of them.
Let's
Hannah Anderson,
go.
Madison White, and Alex Kerr are all submitted into the draft.
They're there.
Some of the top players in the country at their position and have a chance to get drafted. And definitely other options thereafter, otherwise, wherever they end up. So that's coming up.
Yeah.
Before we get into basketball, let people know where they can watch it, what your expectations are for the draft, just your brief little NWSL preview as it comes to Texas Tech players getting drafted tomorrow night.
I know
Vibes
what a
manifest.
yeah, what a huge like a great capstone to what the season is and this success. So if y'all have been following along with us, especially during during the soccer season, we had Hannah Anderson on for our interview. We had Madison White on and Alex Kerr. We didn't get to talk to her before she transferred here from Vanderbilt, but those three players really having an incredible season. And now they're in the draft to become professional soccer players. And it's exactly what we would want from this story. And I'm so stoked for them. And where you can watch it, I think we were talking about this earlier, Shelby. We'll share the information. It's a streaming service that I'm not familiar with. Ion, I think, is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I've never heard of
I
it.
haven't either, but we will not lead y'all astray. Have no fear. And that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And so, yeah, highly encourage y'all to watch it. These are players that we've talked about all season. And so it's really exciting to see where they could end up. And dude, I'm just such a like they're gonna get drafted because these coaches know what's up. They know what they're gonna get out of Hannah Anderson, not only on the field, but that was our captain. It's like they need to come make sure they watch this show, and y'all will
Bet.
know what you're getting with all three of those
If you
players.
need a
And
scouting report, it would be heavily biased, but
uh,
also
but we
just good.
that's my toxic
Doesn't take
trait.
an expert. I'm
Full
not an
send.
expert to tell you that all three of them are very good at soccer. And that's my
They can do the
analysis.
damn thing.
And
They can
anyone
do
that
it.
takes them is a smart organization, and anyone that doesn't is dumb. And that's what I'm going to learn tomorrow night about the NWSL.
End of end of sentence. End of segment. Yeah. So make sure y'all are watching NWSL. It's the professional league for the United States, and we are also the country with 4 World Cups. So soccer is a huge sport for us in West Texas, in this country, and in the world. So good luck to all three, and I'm so excited. Can't wait to watch. And I don't know, live tweet that. Like, what are we gonna do? I'm just gonna be excited the whole time. But that's what we have tomorrow. Make sure y'all are watching.
Let's go. I can't wait.
Let's do
I'm
it.
really excited for it and
That's what's up.
ready to make it happen, really. I just want them to have everything they've worked for come true tomorrow night or thereafter, and everything's ahead of them. So we'll be cheering them on wherever they go, like Sibby said, and ready to buy those jerseys, y'all. Ready to hang it on
Hey,
the wall.
are you
I'll
money?
figure it out. It'll take
Oh my
gosh.
Time,
okay, but we'll figure it out. We'll get it done. You got to do it. But that's soccer. We know the season they had. Women's basketball is trying to have a fun season themselves this year in a different way, a different point in their journey, obviously. But big things still ahead. I thought at the end of the day, like I wish we could stop having these shows the day after the loss instead of the day after the win. Just the way it keeps falling. They've been 1-1 now in the first 2 weeks of Big 12 play. And they've won one game, lost a game, won a game, lost a game. And it's just the roller coaster that is the Big 12. Yeah, we're young, so that's part of it. But that's also just the roller coaster that is the Big 12. And quite frankly, the teams that handle that the best are going to be the ones that get those 9 or 10 wins plus more to make it far. You can't be the people throwing up off the side of the roller coaster. You got to be the ones with your hands up, just being like, all right, this is fun, let's go.
Right.
And so that's how I am as a fan. I'm trying to do that, enjoy the journey. And at the end of the day, I mean, I said on Thursday, this exactly what I wanted to happen this week happened. Or I guess wanted, it's not the strong word. What I thought would happen this week happened. I said
Shelby knows all.
Okay, let's not go crazy. But I said Kansas is a game you need to win. I think we match up well. We can win that game.
Ooh.
I said Oklahoma State, we absolutely can beat that team, but it wasn't a game I was counting on, right? Because it's on the road, and winning on the road in the Big 12's tough.
Yeah.
I think on either end of the spectrum, which we'll get into in a minute on these games, I think the way in which we won in Kansas was super, super, super impressive because I thought, to be frank, and I said it, to beat Kansas, I thought we'd have to beat them the way that other teams that have beaten Kansas have, and that's to get Jackson in foul trouble or to tire her out, and so on and so forth. We did do a good job early of getting her a foul on her in the very first possession. Maybe that got in her head, but for the most part, she was not in foul trouble, right? She played over 30 minutes in that game. We played toe-to-toe with a professional quality player and team. There's probably multiple pro players on that team because some of them I think can play in Europe, the guards. She's a WNBA talent, and we beat them straight up. Oh. That was one of the most impressive wins in the last few years, in my opinion, because of how we won. We outcoached them, we out-game planned them, and most importantly for a young team, we had our young players out-execute a senior-led team in Kansas. They believed in the game plan the coaches put forth, and they executed that thing to a T. There were mistakes, but they didn't let the mistakes get to their head. They just said, okay, that sucked. Next, regroup, went back to the game plan. That's what I saw on Saturday, and that's why it was so impressive to me. It's not that we beat Kansas. I thought we could beat them because I thought we had an element of depth that they didn't have, and we could take advantage. It's everything else, the way that we won, is what gets you excited about this team.
Yeah. And
we'll talk more about that. And then conversely, how we lost last night was a little frustrating. But at the end of the day, it's still just one loss. And it wasn't a win that you had to have. It wasn't a bad loss because it wasn't a win you were expected to get. Does that make sense? Just to give some people some context and to let's be excited here. That was still a solid week of basketball for this team.
Yeah. And my mouse just died as I was looking up some of that information. Great. But yeah, I think what you've been talking about, and we've been talking about off air, obviously, is not getting caught up in that panic of losing. Cause I even kind of felt that way. I was like, oh, like we needed these, like what, I can see where we're struggling, and I'm feeling those heavy feelings, and I'm like, wait, what am I even doing? Like, this is part of the journey of sports, and I think with those the games, the roller coaster is a perfectly described of what's happening, and there's a million different components to it, different layers to it, and I can't help but to think about that. Like, I'm never feeling a feeling of like frustration or not even disappointment. It's just like I see these glimpses of when they're doing really, really well, and like when they are connecting. And I think when we saw some of that in Kansas, it was like, oh, this looks so good. This looks so crispy, and like the play is so eloquent. I just can't wait to see more of that. And so on a more consistent basis. And that's what I'm looking forward to in our next matchup against Oklahoma. But for those who didn't get to watch those games, Tech won against Kansas at home 73-64, and then we went to Oklahoma in Stillwater and lost 71-58. So I don't know if we even said the scores to those games, but
There you go.
yeah, that's what.
All in all, you go 1-1. You're 2-2 after 4 games. We're going to show some highlights from Kansas. We'll talk more in depth on what we saw from the Oklahoma State game as well. But at the end of the day, you're 2-2 after 4 games. I would have taken that all day. That's actually where I had us at the beginning of Big 12 play, watching it. These were the games I thought we could win. Houston and Kansas, and I thought Texas definitely would be tough, and I thought, on the road at Oklahoma State, I'm not going to put that on that team to win it.
Yeah.
So they're right on track, and furthermore, I mean, go clip me, go tell me I was wrong, because back in October we did a preview right after the schedule came out, and I said I think we might be 1-5 after 6 games because of how this schedule fell, and we're already 2-2 after 4. They've already proven me wrong. Like, okay, and what I also said in that episode was I think we can go 8 out of our last 12 to finish 9-9. I think they can still go 8 out of their last 12 to finish now 10-8. Plus, there's some other things happening. The reason my predictions changed a little bit right before Big 12 plays, I had seen teams play. I knew our strengths and weaknesses better then. And some of those wins are going to be harder than others. Some of them may be a little more realistic than others. But they're all still on the table for this team, and that's what excites you. But it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is they just got to ride that roller coaster, and it's not just them. That's the entire Big 12. It's one of the best conferences. It's rated as the second best conference in the country. It's going to be a dogfight every night.
Yeah.
And that's just what it was. So, yeah, that's kind of my overall thoughts. They're ahead of schedule in a lot of ways. I get that the way in which we lost might frustrate people, but that's also frustrating is a good thing, right? Yeah. I've watched a lot of Texas Tech basketball over the years, especially through some dark times, and I've watched some bad basketball over the years. This is not bad basketball, and the reason you get frustrated is because you see that, we actually finally have like the depth of talents, the dogs out there that can win this fight. And so when they don't, it's like frustrating, right? But that is also a positive because we can win those games. So we're going to beat Oklahoma State when they come to Lubbock in a few weeks. That's one of those we'll get. We'll talk about, someone asked us last week, what are these 10 wins that we can get to? We'll talk about that later in this episode. That's one of them. We're fine. We're right on track. They just got to keep trusting the process, which they've given us no reason to believe they won't. So
sure.
I'll get these highlights fired up, and you can say what you want on that the rest of it.
I know. I'm sitting here thinking about, like, how am I going to make this clip video of Shelby predicting the future? And so when we get to that list, it's going to be like kind of spooky. But
I hate doing predictions. I very much hate doing these, but I understand why fans ask it, because we can't predict the future. But I look at it from a standpoint of, I watch a lot of basketball. I watch this team a lot. I know our strengths and weaknesses. I know the rest of the Big 12 strengths and weaknesses enough to be dangerous, right? And obviously not as much as the staff does. So they're going to figure it out even better. But I know enough to be like this, and I also look at analytics. It's all the things together. I try to take the emotion out of it. If I didn't take the emotion out, I'd be like, we're going to beat Texas every time. We're going to beat Oklahoma State, because personally, I have personal reasons I wanted them to beat Oklahoma State last night, but they're going to get it done at home. But I didn't have those on there, right? Because take emotion out of it, just watching basketball, we're capable of winning these 9 to 10 games, but it's not going to be easy for sure. There's a lot of teams saying the same thing. So
yeah, that's very funny. You just described me. I'm like, wow, I feel seen. The way that Shelby's talking. Yeah. So we got clips from Kansas, and we'll let this clip right out. But yeah, Jasmine Shavers finishing with 25 points, Bailey Maupin and Ashley both having a dime, 10 points apiece. And so, and a really fun game from Jordan Merritt as well. And talk about her too here in a little bit, but go ahead and hit him.
Yeah, like I said, I believe it's one of the most impressive wins, and I think casuals will start to see that over the next few weeks as Kansas gets those wins. For those that don't know, Kansas, you can pull up the score, Sibby, but they beat number 4 Baylor by 20-something.
Yeah, I'm on it.
And that isn't like the way in which they beat Baylor was a surprise to me, the big score, but I think you could see that they matched up well with Baylor, because Baylor's not very big, but still, they were number 4 undefeated Baylor. And
Oh my
Keontae Jackson had 29 points and 19 rebounds in that game. We held her in this game, as you're about to watch in these highlights, with a lot of great team defense to 4 points and 12 rebounds. That's the key to this game. Again, I said it before. That's why this win was impressive to me. Was the way in which we outcoached them, outgameplayed them, and the most impressive part is how our team bought in and outplayed and lived into the scheme, I guess, better than
Shelby. That is such a good point. And before you hit play, like just looked up the score. Kansas beat Baylor 87-66. So number 4 Baylor. And it's almost like if we beat the national champions, we're the national champions. But no, like y'all trust Shelby. I mean, that's the toxic trait in me, but trust Shelby in this. And I think it's going to lead to a bigger picture, and we'll continue to see that down the. So I'm with you on this now. Like I've been feeling a little sad.
You don't even have to trust me that wasn't a fluke win. You can trust the voters. Kansas was a top 25 team coming into the season. They only lost to Virginia Tech by 1 point. They played UConn close. They played Penn State close. They played a really tough non-con, and it just kind of got away from them. And then furthermore, before the season, they were picked to finish 3rd in this conference. 3rd, and they could still get there. But they just had a tough start to Big 12 play, and again, we just played well in this game. So let's watch the highlights and let y'all see that. But I can't emphasize that enough. I'm not saying that is like, okay, well, the season's over. You beat a good team. Be happy with it. I'm saying that's a game that you can take confidence in, and that when this team believes in the game plan and we get that type of game plan and they play with it and execute. Execution is the key with this team. When they execute, they're a very capable team. So.
Turned off. Shaver says, I don't need no stinking shot clock. It's the Jayhawks.
Spoiler, Jada scores a 3.
We'll start off by what you'll see in the Oklahoma State thing. And the negative in this game is we started slow in this game too. You'll see the score 7-2. You can get away with that at home. It's hard to get away with it on the road, as we saw in Oklahoma State. But we did a good job in this game of regrouping and coming back and not letting these mistakes compound. Shavers was absolutely unconscious.
1-3, the best athlete on this team.
Look at Alina Enrique on a
guard. Oh my gosh.
You can't get away from me.
She's too quick.
So what?
She's too quick.
That's why she was the defensive player of the year
in the half court, because they're so talented in
Jane Bailey just
make confidence in the half court.
That was needed for
amazing.
Chevalier. Jackson jumps out on her. She backs it out with
MVP
3.
in a lot of ways.
With 2. Floats it. Got it.
That is Ashley Chevalier over the 6'6".
I know, dude.
Inside off the glass. Tech.
I loved it. I loved that. Was that a horns down right there?
I think it did look like it. The form was there.
Mayberry out front. They switch.
Oh, the
slip.
scoop.
Oh, we're watching this again. This is one of my favorite plays of the year.
That was a
beautiful
show. Then backs out.
I should have put that play in there individually because the other angle shows it better.
Oh,
but
I
growth
saw
from old Bailey Maupin. Watch the hesitation to get the space to make the pass. Earlier in the year, she just kind of would fling that in there and get it tipped. But she's growing on us, and then obviously Jada, that just the strength that she brings that others can't at her position, and she'll keep taking it. It was impressive there, but here's the play.
Oh, it's so good. The crossover.
Hesitation right here.
Mayberry out front. They
get that space
nice
open.
Jada,
Let's go.
counted in a blocking foul.
I love good offense.
Show,
I love
then
good
backs
offense.
out with 10 on the shot clock.
Jazzy, this is just
the jump.
Great. And I didn't put this clip in here again because I don't want to be redundant. We posted it. Go find it. But this is the first. We got down 4 here. Kansas was on a 6-0 run prior to this. Coach called a timeout. We now go on an 8-0 run, including this 3 right here to close up the half. And that is what we did well in this game that we didn't do well on Wednesday. But it's in there. It's in there in this team, As we stopped the runs and we went on our own runs. We kept it close, then we took over, right? That's just what they did well in this game is the execution and not letting it snowball. Enrique for 3. Big stuff. Her and Jordan both had a 3 in this game.
She does it
Teams
all.
are going to keep daring them. They just got to be willing to shoot them.
Pay up. Rent is due.
The biggest area of improvement for this game is their one-on-one defense with their
Jazzy
guards.
was in her
for
bag.
3. Rips the net.
All 3 levels. I mean, she was mid-range game. She was making them with the hoop.
The 3 from the corner. Chevalier.
I won't show it again, Ashley. I won't show it again. We love the bank was open.
Aim's always a tough place to play. Pull up, Shavers.
Oh, okay,
Well,
fine. I finally made
Tries
it
to
on the
board.
get
screen.
off the
Give me
glass.
that.
That's pretty. Jet out. Chevalier comes out. Shot clock turned off. Shavers says, I don't need no stinking shot clock. Gets it over to Jada wins.
Shot clock.
Jackson with 2 blocks.
Jada, 2 back-to-back threes to end the third quarter, start the fourth quarter.
That's what
give
she
us a little bit of
does.
confidence. That's what she
On
does.
top,
She's a
Enrique,
shooter.
inside of 8 to play here in the 4th.
Okay, do work.
Shavers.
That-
Oh,
all the way
God.
down.
Her mid-range game, we talked about that early in the
Shavers
season, how
with
much the growth
19 in the
it's
ball
just
game,
when
7
she's
here.
hitting that,
That step in.
she's
Just,
dangerous.
Nice
She knows
job
how to
by
get to her
Samaya
spots.
Nichols on that press.
oh my.
That was-
On the
the
reverse, Jasmine
You can't give
Shavers.
Jazzy that much space.
Now picks up Kersgeeter again. Lost
the
it.
hustle. We love the
Kersgeeter on
hustle.
the floor. She knows time is out. That's going to do it.
Let's go. Give us that one more turnover at the very end
The
of the
Lady
game.
Raiders
Like
snap.
we
I'm sure
earned
Ash
it.
is like, she
I'll
doesn't
take
care,
that.
But
I'll
I'm gonna do
take
it for
that.
you, Ashley. They give her the steal. Put that in the box score.
Oh my
Happened before the buzzer.
gosh. Just
Um,
beautiful basketball. Every highlight in that package was just like
It was good stuff, yeah. And they definitely made mistakes in this game. No one
Totally.
plays perfect basketball, but what they did well in this game, and probably the best all year. This was definitely, in my opinion, the best win all year.
I agree.
And
yeah.
I think that'll reflect that by the end of the year, especially with Kansas. Is they
Doing
didn't
some
let,
work.
They didn't let mistakes get out of hand, you know.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
they definitely play better at home, and they're really good at that at home. Really, they haven't had outside the Texas game any like glaring where they just kind of let it snowball. And so you have confidence they'll do that next week when they play Iowa State, but.
Yeah.
They just didn't let it snowball, and Kansas tried. And I can't emphasize enough that Kansas is they start 4 seniors in their lineup and 1 freshman, but 4 seniors, and we have mostly sophomores, as we've talked about.
Mhm.
And they really had their poise in this game about them. So
Yeah.
big stuff from that standpoint. Game plan, loved it. Execution, loved it. The team defense was insane, which you saw in this clip a lot. You'll see it. And by team defense, I mean just watch them work down the on Tiani Jackson. It wasn't one person that shut her down.
Yeah.
It was a group effort. A lot of times the guards were doing really good help side defense. Enrique was.
Oh,
We posted a clip
2
on Enrique. Go
passes?
watch it. Yeah, passing was great. But Enrique was working down there. Even
Yo.
if Jackson got a shot off, she was having to work for it. She was in her face. She was being physical without fouling, and it was impressive. So
Yeah.
I thought you could gain a lot of confidence from that. I think you still can, and I was happy with that. And then obviously Jasmine Shavers, we've kind of talked about this. I think there's a lot of people playing out of position on this team. I think Jasmine is one of the players that thankfully doesn't have to, and you see that in games when she can just play her game and just be free and do what she does, because she kind of is getting to be the player that's like playing her natural position on this team.
Yeah.
And she can just get buckets when she doesn't get a beat ahead or something like that. So
Yeah.
like in this game, she was just herself, and she's got that Brie in her. We talked
Yeah.
about that twin. You know, that's what Brent.
I
Brent
know.
says.
Dang.
She has that in her. She's only a sophomore. It's going to be fun to see her keep getting better. For sure.
I know. And this was a game too that I was really excited to watch Logan Johnson. And she ended with 7 points. And one of the things that they were saying on air is like, I think her game before that, she had missed her free throws and she went 4 for 4 in free throws this game. And to me, it was like, okay, that stat is whatever. And we don't have to ever think about it ever again. But it is going to show how much Logan is growing game by game. It's like she's like polishing these edges that she's had and doing it as a freshman. And I've been so excited for her, and seeing how she's contributing to the team so far has been exciting to watch. But yeah, Jasmine playing out of her mind in this game, and y'all see it too. It's just, and the defense. I mean, I've grown such a new love for defense watching this particular team, and that's something that I think is cool now that we're in our 2nd season of seeing Scarlet, is comparing different teams. And I think about the question that we ask all the time of like, how would you compare this team to last year's team? And it's almost like you can't ever really do that. It's each team brings a really cool, a really cool component. And what I'm loving from this team so far is our defense, and how fired up that makes me when we get a turnover, we get second call violations, whatever it is. It's so hype, and that was a really fun piece to watch with this game and what we continue to see from our team. So
Absolutely. Defense is how this team's going to win games. They know
Mhm.
that. They've bought into that. And you even saw that as we'll get into the Oklahoma State game in a minute. But I'll just put this comment on the screen because obviously we agree.
Oh
Gerlich.
yeah, yeah.
I really appreciate what Gerlich's done this year, and I think the majority of Texas Tech fans appreciate it. But can't
Oh my
emphasize enough
gosh.
the tough spot her and her staff was put in right before the season when they lose essentially 2 starters and a senior and
Facts.
Jazzion Jackson as a guard who would have been your starting point guard, and then the height piece that we've missed all year that kind of forces this team to really, really have a small margin of error and still be able to win games like this. It's impressive. But the margin of error is small because you lose someone like JoJo, and this staff, and the players should get a lot of credit for being willing to play a little bit out of position because they're just winners and they'll play
Mhm.
wherever they need to and learn and grow. And I think it's going to pay dividends down the line. Moppin, for instance, being able to become this playmaker
Yeah.
and being forced to do it in a way that maybe we didn't want to force her to do it, wanted to let her come along gradually in that more
Yeah.
facilitator role she's had to learn on the go. And that's only going to pay dividends for this team next year and the year after because she's getting it done this year. So, and then
Yeah.
next year we'll have Jazzy on back, obviously, as well, that can handle the heavy lifting.
yeah.
So it's good, and
yeah.
we're always going to give the staff their shine, and they're going to keep working with this team. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes people lose sight of how impressive it is that they're even able to compete at this level with
that's
what they lost before the year. You lose
that
2
is-
starters
yeah,
on your
that's a
team, and
good
they're
point.
still a team that can make the tournament if they really, really, really just hit all their keys.
Yeah, I think about that every time I see any of them because they're still sitting on the bench and they're still going to the games and stuff, and we think about what could have been with the roster and with them playing. But I love what you're saying of kind of that like refocus of how we're adapting and how we last season even we were managing injuries, and credit to the staff. And not only that, but I have to think or imagine that Coach Gerlich is putting full faith into these players too, because that's going to be tough to be like, yeah, I want to be playing more in this role, but like this is where my team needs me, and of course they're going to show up. But for Coach to be like, you can do this, you are in this unique position, maybe a tough spot for you to be, but here's where you can grow and it can make you a better player overall. And so that's what's been really impressive with this team too so far, is just knowing the challenges that they had before they even got on the court, like heartbreaking injuries, but how they're persevering, and also how those players are having an impact, like seeing them hype up each other. And I know that they're like all supporting of each other, or what it seems to us, and that's what all you can ask for during that tough time. But yeah,
Absolutely, they deserve a lot of credit, and you see that, and that's why we still believe in them because it's right there.
Big
It's right
fan.
there. Just that margin of error is what got cut down with the injuries, but the opportunities are there. The opportunities we're here in Kansas, and we took advantage of them. Close this one out. Thought
Yep.
even give Merritt her shine. I thought Jordan Merritt had big moments throughout the game,
for
but
real.
very, very big moments in that fourth quarter. Had a 3, I believe, in that fourth quarter. Had a huge offensive rebound and putback to really help us close out that win. And then Alina Enrique, as we talked about, and Ashley Chevalier, in a lot of ways, were MVPs, quiet MVPs in that game as well. So it was a team win.
Totally.
Overall, everybody contributed, and you just loved it. And I hope that they take a lot of confidence from that. Moving forward into the Oklahoma State game, they did ultimately lose by 13 to Oklahoma State on the road. It was not a game we quote unquote expected to win. You may have hoped that there was a little bit more of a back and forth battle type of game, but we kind of just got in our way early. Got maybe a little bit frustrated with not making some shots or forcing some bad shots, and we just let it get away from us. But there were some good things in this game. I thought I saw in that first 5 minutes, which this is why we don't have highlights from this game, because go roll the tape yourself. If you go back and try to watch this game on ESPN, it starts 5 minutes into the game, which is super frustrating because the first 5 minutes of the game, a lot of people look at that box score and say, God, our first quarter was terrible.
Oh,
Offensively, listen, we scored 4 points. Like,
what was it? 13 to 4.
Our defense in those first few minutes, you saw that they seem, in my opinion, they took the confidence from that Kansas game.
Yep.
They felt like, okay, We believe in the game plan. And that's the most active I've seen Jordan Merritt on defense down low in a while. And that's not a shot at her previous games. I mean, that's how
she had a
active she
great
was.
game. Yeah, 2
Early
blocks
in the game, she was
2
really
steals.
active, right? Bailey Maupin, that might be the most active I've ever seen Bailey Maupin on defense in the first few minutes of that
6
game.
rebounds.
Yeah, rebounds. I don't know how many steals she had, but at least one
She
or
had
two.
2.
Yeah, I
She
think
had-
they both came in. I think they both came in the first 5 minutes of that game.
3
She had
assists.
deflections.
Yeah,
she had. She took a couple charges in the first 5 minutes of that game. Like Bailey
Yeah.
Maupin was everywhere playing
She was.
defense, and then she's not known as a defender, but she's growing into that role. The defense was there, so I
Yeah.
get it. First quarter was a disaster, is what people are saying, because you look at the box. It was offensively. But to hold Oklahoma State, who's a really good offensive team, to 5 points, 5 minutes into that game, showed that we really were locked into the game plan. The game plan was pure. It was actually good. And when we were playing it, we were playing well. What happened, in my opinion, just my lowly opinion, but what happened is we started playing bad offense, which then gave Oklahoma State really easy threes, really easy shots. They're some of the best shooters in the country.
Yep.
And then that led to them getting a little bit of an offensive explosion and getting that cushion. It wasn't necessarily bad defense most of the game. There was some moments where you get frustrated, but mostly I thought our game plan was well and they pretty good on the defensive end, and they executed it well. It was mostly bad offense that led to Oklahoma State's possessions, and that's how they scored. But you mentioned not comparing to past year's teams.
Yeah.
But to be frank, if we only score 4 points in the last 3 or 4 years with a team, we're down by 30. We're down by 35.
Yeah.
At the end of a quarter, it's probably 30-4. And we were only down 13-4. So not trying to blow smoke or whatever, but the truth is defensively we played well. It was just the offensive inconsistency and forcing some shots and then getting frustrated, and it compounded on us, and we got into too big of a hole that we ultimately couldn't pull ourselves out of. I mean, my game plan going in that game was keep it close. You will absolutely wear Oklahoma State down late because they're not very deep, similar to Kansas. And you saw that in the third quarter.
Yep.
But at that point, we were trying to come back down from 20-something, and we get within 7 if you play better in that. To me, it wasn't even the first quarter. It was the 5-minute mark in the first quarter to about the 3-minute mark left in the second quarter. It was that 10, 11 minutes of the game that lost you the game. It was about 10 minutes of bad basketball, offensive basketball in particular, that lost you the game. The rest of the game, we were pretty good, pretty solid at times, especially defensively, and then we had a good spurt offensively to get back in it. But we just lost. It's hard to go on the road and climb back from 20 down. We expended a ton of energy in that third quarter, and we looked a little dead because of that in the fourth. And ultimately, we won the second half. Yeah, that's cool. Yay. No one's going to celebrate that for us. But you can take what you can out of that. They're going to go home and they're going to work on it. So it wasn't a bad loss again, because it wasn't one analytically take the emotion out of it that we were expected to win. So it's not a bad loss, right? But I think it's fair to say it was frustrating because in the way in which we lost, but it's things they can fix. It's things they're working on, and it's just an execution thing. And as long as they ride that roller coaster, they're going to be good. Like, they just got to get back to doing what they do. And this is a great learning experience for a team that's learning what Big 12 basketball is. And not just the young ones, even our older transfers.
Everybody.
Not Big 12 players.
Yeah.
So they're learning as they go.
And learning to like play with each other. And I think another thing too, I was looking at the stats of what we were shooting. Oklahoma was shooting 54 to our 36% 3-pointers. It was like one of those games where if they had an open shot at a 3 line, you were like, your heart sank a little bit. But they were shooting 40% from 3. And then free throws, though, we shot 90%, which, I mean,
we didn't shoot very many, though.
We didn't shoot very many. We only shot 9 out of 10. But
that was, to me, those were 2 keys to the game, right? The way we win games is our defense, forcing turnovers, which we did a good job of. I think they had 21 turnovers. You'll take that all day. The problem was in the first half, we forced 10 turnovers. We had zero points off of 10 turnovers.
Yeah, that was
brutal.
brutal.
In the first half. And some of those were dead ball turnovers, and so they weren't like going to be allowed to be able to go into transition turnovers, but some of them we were, and we didn't take advantage of it, or we turned it right back over. And we had 0 free throws in the first half. Our first free throw did not come until about 7 minutes in the third quarter remaining. We lead the Big 12. We're up there in the country and getting free throw attempts. And so when you're not doing the two things that you're quote unquote elite at in the upper tier of the country and those factors, it's going to be hard to win. And I thought you saw in the third quarter we became the aggressor a little bit, got to the line more, and we had that little run. You just got to do that earlier. So
yeah, I think too.
It's pretty clear. Like that's a good thing for the coaches. Like they know, the players know what went wrong. It's not like, I don't know what happened. Like they know what went wrong and they can correct that and work on it moving forward.
Yeah, I think looking back at some of the notes that I had from that game with Kyla, I remember watching her, and it's almost like I feel like I'm waiting on her to have like a really, really good game, because I feel like she's so close to being there. And this game was an example. Like she had some really big plays and really big points and key points in the game, which to me kind of showed a little bit more confidence in how she's playing. And like maybe some of the fouls, it's just kind of like that's a bummer, but she, I think, is improving in that way. And that was a nice showcase of that work that I'm sure she's doing behind the scenes that we're not seeing. But yeah, I agree with you. It was a tough loss, but again, we can see where it's really, really good basketball, and knowing that they're capable and they can ride with some of the best of them. Like this is a nice game to process, knowing like how jarring it can look at the score, 71-58. Like feel those feelings, but yeah, a lot of really exciting things to see and to look forward to, and as this team continues to grow, both individually so much, but also as a team.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta
ride the wave. That roller coaster. Hey, roller coasters are fun.
Right. The teams that win by March agree with you.
That's true.
If you can learn to love the roller coaster of it and find the fun in the roller coaster and not throw up off the side of it instead, you can win the games you need to win in this conference. But that's easier said than done. And but this team has shown the ability to do that all year. They just got to keep working at it. Everything is in front of them, which we can talk about. So we got this question last week about specifically what games you think you can win. We had a question, which I'll just start with this question because LOL, we get questions like this all the time, and I don't care. They put themselves out there. So someone on Facebook said, haven't watched this team, but looking at the results. You've already lost me with the first sentence there.
Shelby's cutthroat, y'all.
Haven't watched this team, but okay, well.
She's out. Shelby
I'm
said,
out. You've lost all credibility when you say you haven't watched them. But anyway, haven't watched them, but looking at the results, what makes you think they can actually be a tournament team? Because I don't see it. Well, sir, you don't see it because you're not watching. So, but outside of that part of your comment, just the ridiculousness to even put that out there in the public.
No one's saying.
I haven't watched them. I don't see it. Well, yeah, that's how that works, sir. But anyway, I get it, even for people that are watching and they're like, are we sure? Again, yes, it's still there. We'll talk about it. And it's not just me saying it. You can go look at the analytics, and the analytics still to this day, I just checked it just now. Still, they have us predicted to go 9-9 in conference play. They're very, very small margins of error. It's like plus 0.1 in some games, plus a couple points here or there in some games, like they're going to be close opportunities, but that's how many games that the analytics have us favored in is 7 more. We've already won 2. That's a 9-9 record. Take that all day. You gotta keep the faith with them on that. But for the people that haven't watched and are just looking at the box score, watch the team and you'll see the growth. If you've been watching them for a while or this program for a while, I promise you, I'm not trying to frustrate people that have been watching them. And I get it. You're frustrated. You've been hanging with this program for a while. You just want it so bad for them. We do too. Mm-hmm. But if you have been watching them, this is a solid team compared to what you've watched in especially, a few years, prior. So I've watched bad basketball. This is not bad basketball. Fight anyone tooth and nail. This is a bad basketball team. They're freaking 2-2 after 4 games in Big 12 play. The way I would have signed everything if you had told me that before the season, like, let's go, just keep the faith, let them keep going. So that's that. Then the other question we got last week that we didn't have time for is the one that, again, I don't really like doing this, but people keep asking for it because
give the people what they want, Shelby.
One, it feels too early to be doing something like this. 2, I normally would be like, we're not doing it, but the team the whole motto is focused on the madness. So If they're out putting it out there, we'll put it out there.
Oh.
People are asking how you get to the madness.
How?
9 to 10 wins, probably it. So, Sibby, give them what wins you think they can get to those 10 wins. We'll play on the high side and say we need to get to 10. We're at 2 right now.
We already had
so you
2, so I
8
give you
more.
I give you 8 more. I think what my list, I'm going to run through them, but
Yeah,
the
go for
last one that I have is like I might call an audible. So that's my
The
like,
audible. Let's
it is
go.
a little early, but my come back to what I'm going to say. But I think we win at BYU.
Okay.
Somebody's got to win there. We got to make that
Got to.
happen.
I agree. Yeah. Someone's gonna
Houston at home. We're taking that dub. TCU at home. We're taking that win.
Mhm.
I have a hot take here, Shelby.
Give it to me.
Maybe it's hot take. I don't know.
Give it to me.
You know, but
Give it to me.
we're beating West Virginia
Oh,
at
you
West
know.
Virginia. Like,
You know,
it's going
there's
down.
Something personal there.
yeah, it's
Sign me up for
there.
that.
You know, John Denver, and he knew a hooper there, and she's originally from, I don't even know what that lore is actually. The whole
I
John
don't know where
Denver
you're
thing.
going with that.
Somebody's gonna help me out here. Maybe they won't. Maybe I'm never gonna be called a Tech fan ever again. We're gonna
Sounds
win that
like
game.
Erica might agree with you on the West Virginia.
Okay, cool.
Or she just knows it's spicy and she's like, oh.
I'm here for all of anything Erica has approval on. I'm here for it. But we're winning against UCF at home. We're winning against, this one's going to be the best. This is going to be a fun episode to record after this one happens.
Let's go.
We're going to beat Oklahoma State at home.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And it's going to be really fun, and it's going to be really great. And then the next one, of course, has to happen. We're going to beat Texas at Texas.
Man, you're going for broke. I am here for this list. I want your list to come true more.
I
than
know.
mine.
Wouldn't that? Hey, I'm just saying this would be a really fun year. And we've already had a really fun 2023. So
yeah, everything's on the table.
Who got next? And then we're going to go to Cincinnati. This is where my audible is going to happen. Either we go to Cincinnati and we win. Or sorry, no, we're playing Cincinnati here. Yeah. We have Cincinnati. We win that. But I also see a very poetic, our last home game, Kansas State. We take the dub.
I don't know why that's poetic, other than just I love winning.
They're
Is there
doing
a storyline that I'm missing there.
No, I just like they're doing pretty well right now, and
no, they are. They're good. They're good.
And if they continue to be good, then like maybe like that's the added, poetic, but also like, last home game vibes. You know the vibes. So
yeah. Last year's game, like Erica says here against West Virginia, was one of the games of
the
season.
Oh my god!
Of the season. And
I just immediately went to that exact moment again. So thank you for bringing that up, Erica.
They have a whole new coaching staff, and they have some new players, but they have some of those returning. And one of those coaches, you'll know well, and that's why I think that's a spicy pick, and I am here for it. I know the team's going to be motivated. They have to keep their emotions in that game in check, but yeah, let's go.
Oh, I love
West
it.
Virginia's
I love
been good. They were top 25, but they just they lost 2 games this week, but they're a solid team. But hey, like I said, there's everyone in this conference we can play with for the most part. If we play our game, I'd say outside of 1 to 3 teams, and even then, if we go ham, who knows? So, hey, I'm here for your list. I'm gonna be honest. Your list is a lot more exciting than mine. Mine is that.
Shocker.
Pragmatic. I'm the most competitive person. I mean, I'm not. Everyone says that. People that know me know I'm a very, very competitive person. And I want to win every freaking game that we're playing. But I'm also very.
You're good. You're realistic.
Pragmatic and realistic and
we appreciate a friend like you.
I try not to be reactionary.
Yeah,
in these
whatever, Shelby.
In games as well. I did this list before Big 12 play. I had Houston away. Got it done. Check. Boom. I had Kansas at home. We got that done. Check. Boom. So
wait, this is you had this before the season started?
It's out there. I think it's written somewhere on the interwebs, probably.
Oh my gosh, Shelby. Okay, and so far you're right.
Before the Big 12 played, not before the season. I did this right before the conference started. Again, before the season, I said 1-5 in the first 6. We've already
yeah.
Before the Big 12 played.
But are you right on all of your?
I made a conscious effort to watch every team in the Big 12 at least once. I've watched a lot of them a lot because I love basketball.
Hire this woman.
And obviously, we've watched every team. I feel like I know our strength and weakness as well. Anyway, I'm trying. I'm not going to say I'm going to get these right. To me, these were just games that we needed to have. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to win that game. It's like we need to win these games because the way I see it, because of how we're having to overcome certain challenges height-wise and stuff, and we're having to play to our strengths in so many ways. You need to take advantage against teams you have a matchup kind of advantage with, or you have it at home and you have that on your side. Things of that nature is what I took into account.
Yep.
Your list is so much more exciting, and I want it to come true.
For
For me, I had Houston
time over
away,
here.
Kansas at home. We got it. There's 2. Next one I have that is getting harder and harder by the day, and that's why I would have loved that Oklahoma State win last night. Let's go get that dub on Saturday. Is Iowa State at home? They're the reason, I'm not saying it's necessarily a great matchup size-wise, but they are younger. You hoped maybe you could fluster them in the press. West Virginia played them last night. West Virginia presses, and they did. They kind of got up. I think they were up by 10 at some point doing that, and they did turn them over. Iowa State showed the poise, though, even for a young group, came back and won that game. But that was at home. Yeah. So what we have going for us is a younger team. They're coming in confident. They're undefeated. They have Baylor this weekend, so we'll see how that goes. But that looks like a tough win, but furthermore, it should be an exciting game. We're not favored in it. This is one of them on my list that we're not favored in analytically in, but it's just one that I'm like, makes realistic sense. It probably going to be a top 25 game at home. Fans would be hype. Let's get it done. Pressure the young group. They're not at home to be able to get up on them, make them prove they can do it on the road. So that one is probably one I'm like, on the confidence scale. But it's there. That's on my list. Next one, BYU away. I agree. I like your point. Somebody at Texas Tech
Somebody,
has
please,
to go
for
to
the
Provo.
love.
Every single team.
Do we have a
intramural
intramural team? Do any of
Football
our
lost, soccer
club
tied.
sports?
Soccer
That's
tied.
true. We didn't
Tied.
lose.
Volleyball lost. Everybody's gone there and lost so far.
I need somebody to win.
Women's
in
basketball is going to be it.
Provo.
They have a really good big, so that's obviously a point where we struggle with sometimes, but we've proven that we can play team defense on her.
Yeah.
Do what we do and control everybody else. Get it done. Houston at home. We won against them on the road. They're going to be ready out for revenge. It's hard to sweep anybody, but you're at home. You got to get that done. TCU at home. I had this on this list even before Sedona Prince got hurt. I think you needed that win then. You definitely need it now. You need to take advantage of her being out of the lineup. They're not very deep, especially with her gone, but they're still scrappy. They played Texas pretty tight last night, even without her. So you need that on there. Cincinnati away. Cincinnati played Oklahoma pretty tight the other day. Like none of these new teams are easy. Cincinnati away, you need that. Play on the road, get you an away dub. UCF at home, same reasons. These are all adequate teams, but you need these wins at home. Oklahoma State, we're gonna get that dub. We're just as good, if not better than that team. We play very different brands of basketball, so it's hard to compare us. But I think we can get that dub when they come back. Our team will be fired up to get that rematch, that revenge game, if you will, at home for this year, and also last year's triple overtime loss at home to them as well. And then lastly, I think you win at Cincinnati at home to finish off the year. Those are all realistic wins. That's why I say it's not outlandish. Sibbies, by God, are fun ones. If we win at Texas
Chaos,
away,
baby.
we win at West Virginia away, and you get these we're all of a sudden 12-6. So I'm here for it. But these are, I think every single one of those I said, except for Iowa State, we're currently actually favored to win as well analytically.
Cool.
This would get us to 10-8. The analytics have us at 9-9. So again, I hate this. I hate doing predictive things because you just don't know. But I do think it adds context and it allows people to check and balance themselves, just like I did. Even when I'm frustrated about a loss last night, I'm like, yeah, but Shelby, you didn't even have them win that game anyway. Calm down. Let's move on. So you can check and balance yourself with us,
Shelby.
and you can do it to yourself as well. So that's where they are for the person that asked that.
Cool.
A week and a half ago. We couldn't get to it last week. There it is. You can flame us when we're wrong now. And we can clip Sibby when she hits on us beating West Virginia on the road and Texas on the road and gets it done.
And you will never hear from me again if I get all of this correct. I'm gonna be doing something big brain, something.
Yeah, and Erica brings up a good point. You said poetic justice with Kansas State. I asked why. Erica gave us the reason.
That's true.
They knocked us out of the Big 12 tournament last year, which could have been a win
that is a good.
But if we had, made a run in the Big 12 tournament, who knows what would have happened last year? So, yeah, that's true, Erica. Let's revenge.
That's a very good point.
K-State's a very, very, very good basketball team. They're one of the top three it's Texas, K-State, and Baylor, and Kansas, probably top four
Dang,
Kansas,
yeah, the
but
Big 12
as they start
is
figuring it out, they're going to beat some people. So
yeah, it's gonna
spicy.
be.
It's spicy this year, but that's a good thing.
I agree.
I know I'm a positive person and that annoys people, but that is a good thing. If you were in a bad conference, you'd be in a bad spot right now. But because you're in a good conference, you have plenty of games to make up. And we dropped 1 point in the net last night. 1 point. Like one spot. We basically traded spots with Oklahoma State. Like that's when I say that game wasn't a bad loss.
Okay. Yeah.
Kansas is almost a quad 1 win for us now. Giving them another win on Saturday. They play Oklahoma State. Really, either way that game goes, it's going to help us. I guess no, we need Kansas. We beat Kansas, so they're going to jump up in the net because Oklahoma State was a quad 1 loss for us. All these things that we've talked about before. When you can take the emotion out of it and just look at it from that standpoint, this team has the spots to go. So
Cool.
there, y'all asked for it. We're done. Never make me do it.
Shelby's pissed.
Never
How
make me
dare
do it
you?
again.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I can't wait to say some outrageous shit, and then it comes true, and then everybody's like, "Wow, Sibby was the basketball queen this whole time."
I want to be so wrong, and I want your list to be so right.
All right,
now.
I'll book it. I'll book it.
Please.
I'll go put like money on it, and we'll be millionaires. Yeah. So who we have coming up? The gals are gonna travel to Oklahoma. They play OU January 13th, 2024. Happy New Year. And that's on Saturday. And then they have another game before we get to see y'all again against Iowa State. That game is at home. And
go ahead and get your tickets. It's going to be a big
go
game.
go do that
just now, but they're going to be a top 25 team, I think, unless they get murdered by Baylor. As long as they hang tough with Baylor, I think they'll be top 25.
It's going to be a really fun matchup. It's at home. Y'all know how we roll. It's January 17th. That's a Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Central. And then we'll pick up the rest of the season as we usually do. But 2 games to look forward to. And y'all should go if you're in town again. Iowa State.
Go say hi to Erica. She'll be there as always.
She'll be the one yelling.
This is breaking news. Is it really, Tyler? I'm trusting you on this. Did they post that recently?
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
where you saw that, but I'm taking your word for that.
Oh, wow. Shelby.
Our good friend Tyler.
Your vetting system is negative 10.
He's a
oh, cool.
I'm going to hope that that's true. I don't know if he's talking to, hopefully you're talking about women's basketball here.
Oh,
that's
man.
What we're talking
there
about,
goes
Tyler.
all of our accreditation.
But we're black, maybe. We'll let you know if that's true.
It's going to be a whiteout. Watch. Just watch.
Yeah, it's like a red out or something.
Yeah. No.
No, but it is. That's cool if it is. I don't even know if I've ever heard the women's team doing color outs of any kind. So,
add it to the list.
Oh, they announced
it was
at
announced the men's game.
Okay, I love that.
Tyler.
Let's go, Tyler. Look at that, the T. So there you go. Iowa State women's game next week, next Wednesday. It's a night game, probably a 6 p.m. start. I believe that's usually when we started games, but look it up and be there. Wear black, be loud. It's an important game. It's one that helps you a lot. So it's not necessary. Other caveat: if we lose that game to Iowa State, just go on the road, TCU late in the year, win that game instead. You're Gucci. Let's give ourselves some grace and not have to put so much pressure on ourselves and get a dub here in the next 2. Also, it's not me ignoring that they could just go on the road in Norman. That's a tough game to win.
Yeah,
the factors in play there and the personnel, but we can win. We've done a good job of bouncing back from losses all year, so let them play a little angry and get it done.
Cool. Yeah. I can't wait for all of my dreams to come true. And over on the men's side, what do you want to talk about there?
Well, okay, listen, we'll start off with, we know the news that's out there. I don't think it's prudent for us to talk about it more than what's out there, and we're not going to sit here and hem and haw on it. It's not a great situation for either of the young people involved. I don't know the details. None of us know the real details. All we have is what's out there. That's where I'm at. Don't make judgments either way. Speak prudently on it. Speak with tact on it. And don't attack anyone involved in this, in my opinion. I hope the adults involved in this situation do what adults are supposed to do and make the right decisions appropriately. All we can do now is watch this basketball team and support the team for what they're doing. So that's a tough situation. We all have feelings on it, and you know, that's what they are, and we can talk about that at some point, but I that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't really, we've talked about it online. I don't really want to sit here and repeat the statement and all the stuff that's already out there that's happened since then. But it's there. Everyone knows about it. It's a tough situation for sure before we get into the games. But you can speak to what you want to on it.
Yeah. Sometimes for me, it's like a reminder of like just being in sports and women in sports and everything, and like there's a lot of harm that's happened, and so I think that's what's important too, is to like, regardless of the outcome, whatever we will or will not find out, harm happened. And I agree with you, Shelby, and I appreciate you saying that, is like we shouldn't ignore it. And I think it's important that we lean into like how we're showing up for our people when harm has happened, and like online, what we have been seeing, whatever it is what it is. But I'm with you on that, Shelby. I think that's all that really needs to be said.
Someone's been harmed in this situation, maybe multiple people, young people at that, and that's what concerned you. But I'm gonna leave it to the people that actually know the facts for me, and try to keep my own because like you said,
staying early,
sports, not to project on this, because we've all been wrong in our own ways in that way. So hopefully the right thing happens, and I'm not sure we'll ever know for sure, but all we can do from a sports perspective is report on the games at this point.
Let's
they
do it.
Go on, in the first game they beat UT. That's a big win, huge. To go on the road, start conference play, your first ever Big 12 win for Grant McCasland on the road at the University of Texas. The last time you'll play Texas in the Big 12, at least we know that relationship.
It's like
AD's already said like we're never going back to Lubbock, so I don't know why we
need to
go
do
to their house if they're not going to come to ours. So that's probably the last time getting a sign there in the tournament that we play.
When we get time, can we do I know it hasn't been for this way for all of our teams, but a farewell tour of all the things that have happened in this last year. It just makes it a cherry on top that we won this game. We were in Austin. People, there's a lot of things that are going on, and UT being UT, it's just a cherry on top, and knowing that it could be the last time that we see them. But the farewell tour continuing on with men's basketball, 78-67, a huge win in Austin for them. That was great to see.
Yep. It was fun might not be the word because of what everyone was going through and during that game, but the game itself was enjoyable as a Texas Tech fan. There were some cool moments. I think my favorite play of the game, I don't remember who was involved in it, but I feel like it didn't get the hype that it deserved. I almost reposted it the other day because it popped on my feed again. Was at some point we're on the ground fighting for the ball, and I think this told you everything about the team. We're on the ground fighting for the ball. The UT defenders just kind of standing up and just like waiting for us to stand up and like ready to guard instead of getting on the ground to fight it. I think it might be Williams on the ground. He just has the ball, gets it free, goes Megs for soccer terms.
Oh my gosh.
With his hand, passes through this guy's legs to someone else that dunks it on Texas. And I was like, that's the game right there. We just wanted it more than Texas, and we're the better team. I really appreciate McCasland's offense this year, which has not been something you could talk about in the men's side. And I can't win. It's been years since you could say there was good offense happening consistently, and they adjust well. He seems to be a great in-game adjuster. And early in his career, it's very early. I'm not trying to overhype it, but he seems to make good adjustments offensively. And everyone said he's going to be a defensive team. We go out and we get that win, dropping 78, and then we come home and drop 90 in the first home game in his career. So offensively, I think has been more of our strong suit than defensively, which if they just get better just imagine if they get better at defense as the season goes, how good this team could be. So I think analytics for them predict them at 10-8 right now. Cool. So analytics aren't going crazy over just getting that win on the road. It's a big win. So it's still, it's a tough conference, as we saw UCF beating Kansas last night, which was wild. There's no easy games on the men's side either. And there's a lot of games ahead, but they definitely look like they're on track to make the tournament in his first season. And he's a winner. He's a winner, and he's won at every level, and he keeps doing it. So big stuff from them. I just love basketball, so I love watching good basketball. I'll watch
you like watching good basketball, and I think the coaching component of it too. Like if anybody watches this show, y'all know by now that like
strategy.
You're
I love
thinking
the strategy of the
that
game.
you got that coach in mind. So it's really cool to see the success from Grant McCasling and like and
Way to
I
go, Jeremy.
yeah,
I agree. Street dogs are back.
it's been fun to to watch
One
them
thing I
come back to
actually
life.
really appreciate about McCaslin
Mm,
is that, you know, his whole motto is toughest team wins.
yeah,
And we're
that
like
one,
street
that
dogs,
one is
street
fun.
dogs. He straight up called out his team before the Oklahoma State game in a quote, because I think someone said like toughest team wins, and he basically said, I don't think we're actually that tough of a team right now. After the Texas win, and that's not as an insult towards his team. That's just him being honest,
Like
and
saying
expecting
we
the best from
can
his team.
do more.
We can
Yeah.
do better, because he says we're not rebounding well yet. And if you don't rebound well, you're not a tough team. That's a basketball principle, right? If you're not
Dude.
willing to crash the boards and block out and get the dirty stuff, you're not a tough team. No matter what else you do on the basketball court, that is everyone agrees with that in the hoops world. So that's what he's saying with that. And so I agree. Street dogs are back, but if you ask McCaslin, he's not quite.
We're still getting
sold
them
on the toughest.
We're still wrangling them up.
So just imagine if he gets them to be what is in his mind tough. So I appreciate that. I like when people aren't complacent and blowing smoke when their team's doing well. So
I think what made me think of, or what that made me think of, was soccer, when we would hear Madison White or Hannah Anderson say like
very good callback.
they'd win and they're like, that wasn't
Murdering
our best
somebody.
game, or like that wasn't our best
Yeah,
soccer.
No, that's a great point.
And
I
I'm
hope
like,
that's a good
yeah,
sign for this team, because
Yeah.
I think that was the Houston game when we won
I
3-0
think so.
to start Big
Yeah.
12 play, and we're like, yeah, and then you watch the post game presser, and Madison's like, man, we
Not
didn't play
even-
that well.
just stone face, like that wasn't our best
Unhappy.
game. Can't wait to come back and show
Do
people.
better
And we're
and
like,
play.
okay, fine.
We're like, my God, girl.
And then they ended up doing having an incredible season, and now
Yeah,
they have
that's-
people in the draft. And again, go watch that.
Tomorrow
But that's
night.
kind of like what that's making me think of is they're not getting complacent, and to have that attitude from your coach too is like they know they have a job to do. And to me, that almost feels like what this team can get behind. Like that's a mission and a statement that they want to make, is like they're going to work and they're going to put in the time and they're going to show up and win these games that maybe they're not expected to win. And God, as a Red Raider, that's like that's our blood. If our blood had a statement, that's what we live for. So it's really cool to see that from them against Texas, and then coming home against Oklahoma State, a dominant performance, 90-73.
Good butcher in that one.
Yeah, you had a great time, it seemed. And
outside the beginning of the game, my God, Texas Tech
Oh my
Twitter, we
gosh.
gotta chill, people. We gotta breathe.
tell them.
I know
Tell
we've been
'em.
through some hard times. We all have. We're all hurting.
That's
inside from the
also
past
in our
few
blood.
years. I get it, but we were down like I don't know, 20-9 or something earlier in the game. Like Oklahoma State came out on fire. And Texas Tech Twitter's like, well, hangover.
We're done.
We just can't win games after big what? And I'm like, guys, it's like 5 minutes into this game. Calm
Y'all-
the F down.
Are y'all new here? Pull up a chair,
Are you new here?
grab a beer
Exactly.
from the fridge, relax,
There's so much more time in this game, and
and
I know
let's watch
I'm
this game.
an optimist at heart, but like still, like there's so much. Anyway, so we gotta be. Let's calm down, y'all. You're making it takes me back to those games in the Bahamas when we were like good potatoes, y'all, good potatoes, trying to tell y'all this team was gonna be solid. You just gotta give them time. Give them time. They're here now. They're getting better. They're cooking. So anyway, Oklahoma State's not an elite team in the Big 12 this year. That's true, but you did what you need to do against teams that aren't elite. They're still a solid team. They're probably going to upset somebody this year in the Big 12. It wasn't us. So, yay that. There is a really tough stretch of games. You're going to find out a lot about this team. Coming up ahead, you play a lot of the best teams in the Big 12 here soon. I believe they have Kansas State at home on Saturday, 3 p.m. So get out there. I think the men's basketball team is going to be there doing a dunk contest at halftime. If Joe McGuire was being literal in his tweet earlier today, that they were with the team today practicing their dunks
Oh my gosh.
for the halftime show. So I
What?
hope that was literal. You can watch that. Don't get hurt, boys, but it'll be fun for the fans going on there. So get out there, support the team. The crowd seemed pretty solid, even though the students were barely back in town the other day.
Can Raider Red dunk? Question mark.
Raider Red, tag.
I think there
where
might
you
be
at?
some people in the chat.
Raider Red wants to dunk. I've seen him talk about it on them, I
Alright,
guess is the
just
correct phrase.
a
I've seen
very
them talk
small
about it on
question.
Twitter. They're pleading with the school to give them a trampoline so they can dunk.
All right.
So,
Well,
I'm here for it. I
Raider
just
Red, you
need
might not
Joey
even
McGuire
need
and a
it.
couple of offensive linemen to go out there and pick Raider Red up.
Well, then we just get our
And just
cheerleading
yank
team,
it.
and they'll
That's
They'll
true.
do
They're
that.
probably more equipped for that. Let's
Yeah.
let their cheerleading team do
let
what they
this
do.
let our team show their strengths. Cheer, dude. Specifically, we should do a segment about tech cheer. Like
No, yeah, we should bring
they are
Brittany
really
Herrera on.
good. Like
Or
they've
Palm.
been
She's on the
good.
Palm squad, I guess. There's difference. We should bring her on here to
We
talk
should
about the difference
do
between
all
Palm
sorts
and
of
cheer and
shit.
bring them on.
All right.
Let's do it. If you're listening, anyone wants to come on. Speaking of interviews, we're gonna start
Quit.
ramping up some interviews with softball. We're gonna try to get people from track on here, tennis, golf. Those are the sports we're gonna cover most closely. But we're still going to give you coverage of the other ones like we do with men's basketball and baseball. We'll promote them, if you will, is the best way while we cover the other teams that aren't getting as much coverage. So speaking of those, track starts this weekend. I cannot believe that.
Dude,
Track
what?
season is so much fun, y'all, if you're not into it. Like, I mean,
So
I had some
it's
of the most fun last year watching Courtney Lindsay upset everybody and win the 100-meter national title.
no
one
did
saw that
see
coming,
some,
and that was hype.
Yeah, you saw some.
And so that's really cool. I hope we can cover them a little more. The men's team won the indoor last year and the outdoor. We lost two big guys in that, Lindsay and forgetting his name, Terrence Jones. So
Nice.
But we just reload. It seems like they brought in a bunch of transfers. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know their stats, but Wes Kitley just got put in the Hall of Fame, so whoever he brought in is good.
Yeah, people know where to go if you know.
You want to win, come to Texas Tech.
Yeah, like it's in the dirt.
That's one of the highest ones on campus where Sibby says we're winning a natty every year. Like the odds are actually pretty high. And
Shelby's like, all right, y'all, you can believe her on this one.
But this time.
The stats could be here. Yeah, that could be right.
Support this.
Yeah, I think it's a great it's a really cool event too that is very different than what you're used to too if you only go to basketball or softball, things like that. But they're going to be in Lubbock in January 13th, so in a couple of days, depending on when you're listening to this. And that is at the Sports Performance Center in Lubbock. Tickets are $8.
Nice
I went and looked it up. I know, and
I'm sure students get in for free.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's a great opportunity. But if that doesn't work out, you know what? They got another opportunity for you to see them. They have the Corky Classic, and that's in January 19th through the 20th, and that's also here in Lubbock. And
next week.
Yeah, it's back to back, and it's wild. And a great thing to do. Taking kids to things like that. It's always a cool opportunity as well.
Yeah, these are interesting things to go watch. There's a lot.
Oh my gosh, so much going on.
This is indoor season. Obviously,
oh my gosh.
So everything is going on.
It's like simultaneous. Yeah.
Like
you could watch high jump, and then
that's happening in outdoor too, but they're spread out across the whole complex. Like indoor, you can watch them flying over the pole vault. You can watch them high jump.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a great event for
it's crazy.
There's baby Sibby
stuff going on at the same time. So
baby Sibby,
we always say it all the time. If you've never been, go check it out. Like you should go check out every sport on campus for fun, especially students. Like there's a lot going on if you've never done it. I had some friends that ran track when I was at Tech, so I went to a lot of them. It's a good time, really, if you like.
It's awesome.
Like watching competitors. So, speaking of competitors, softball is a team we will very much be covering as we do around here. Very excited to start talking with some of them and even get Coach on here before the season, hopefully, and preview that. But it's less than a month away.
It's nuts.
Have some really spicy non-con opponents this year. Starts off right away with the Florida State tournament, which is Florida State University tournament.
Florida State.
Florida A&M to start it off on the 9th with a doubleheader. They play Charlotte as well, and then mixed in there on the 10th is the big one. They get to play Florida State, and that's the big one. And then they have some other fun tournaments lined up and some non-con opponents that they're excited about. I'm not trying to put pressure on this team too much this year. The future is very bright. Obviously, next year's class is second in the nation. But this year's freshman class, which we talked about previously, is really good as well.
Yeah.
And then we returned quite a good core of players, and we got a couple of good transfers in. We need to get confirmation on if Jenna Lord is eligible to play or not. That's something we're still looking into, but I'm hopeful with that weird announcement with the NCAA that kind of just under the radar announcement in December where they snuck it out there. It was mostly for football reasons that 2-time transfers could just play with no waiver.
Yep.
Well, that would be her, but in my opinion. So I'm hopeful that she gets to play now because I was concerned that she'd have to sit out a year. But maybe she gets to play. That's big. Hitters, were loaded in that case with her and Aubrey Barnhart coming over, Kaylee Wyckoff coming back, Riley Love, Via, Barraza. Oh my gosh, we're loaded. We're loaded from hitters. We know that. And then we got old Sage on the mound with is going to carry the load there as well as some other pitchers. So it'll be fun.
Awesome.
We'll do more previews on them as we get closer, and we're excited to get to coverage. But they put out a cool tweet today. I don't remember them doing this.
Oh my
last
gosh,
year,
yeah,
but they're doing
that
the
hype.
full media day. I love this for them. That means there should be some fun gifts for us to use.
Yeah,
If they
yeah.
don't make them, we will. Don't worry, we got you. So I love that they're giving him the full experience. I know that he got him fancy custom gloves and all that this year.
Oh,
too, so
dope.
the
dope.
swag level is going to be there for this team for sure.
I love it. Yeah, if y'all on Twitter X, if you type in the gifts at C and Scarlet, there's a ton. We got volleyball, we got soccer, hoops. You like
If a team puts it out there and I see it, I'll eventually make.
They are
bookmark it,
so
eventually
good.
We'll make a gif out of it.
sometimes I like text Shelby and I'm like, hey, this time mark, 8:37,
like, gif it.
second quarter. That's a gif. That's a gif. So they're plentiful.
I
and it's
actually
really cool to
love when
see.
y'all do that on Twitter too. People will tag us now in all sports, and they're like, "Hey, seeing Scarlett, can you please gift this?"
Oh my God. You open up shop. Yeah.
I'm here for that.
I'm here for it too. But yeah, a lot of really exciting to come with softball, and I think before we move on to
we
baseball.
love this comment from Kate.
Yeah.
Is that how you say your name? We love the confidence. I actually do agree that it's not wild out of the realm of possibility because the Big 12 is really good, and so you're going to have every opportunity to get good high net quality wins before OU leaves. But even after that, we have good ones coming in from Pac-12. So we're very, very capable. It's a pitching thing for me. Sage we trust, and Rancy, and we brought in that forget her name. My apologies. We brought in that transfer from Charlotte as well that hopefully brings some innings. But hitting's going to be there.
Yep.
We can get some steady pitching. Let's go, Kaylin. I'm here for that.
If
we make the tournament this year, that is like head of schedule. Woo!
Train
we're gonna
is
be crazy. May. Seeing Scarlett's going to be going wild if softball's in the NCAA tournament, but we're here for it. So.
Oh, we are here for it. In every sport all the time. And hopefully to join them. We got baseball. They're going to be in Arlington for a lot of fun different games. So yeah, I know we got a lot of Red Raiders in that area. They play Tennessee on February 16th. The next day, they play Nebraska on the 17th. Then they have Oregon on the 18th. Have a day of rest, UTA on the 20th, and then Oregon State on the 21st. Whoa.
Yeah,
Baseball Central.
First time in a minute we're not in the preseason top 25, so doubt us if you must.
Not nice, but fine.
We'll get back in there. That's Tadlock we'll be fun. So I'm excited to watch baseball as well. I have a baseball background, so
yeah, that's cool.
It's kind of just
I love we're getting a great sample of all sorts of different teams.
about to get real busy this year.
And about to get real busy. So that's exciting for baseball. And then the last thing that I had is we got another volleyball recruit. I'm drinking out of my volleyball koozie, so this just all feels right. And Aaliyah, basically
Aaliyah McDonald's.
That's right.
She'll be a junior, I suppose, or in some manner she has 2 years of eligibility left. She is a middle blocker, which us and our minimal volleyball analyst skills last week just said, it sounds like we need a middle blocker now. Obviously, the coaches know what's up,
Got her.
And they said, here you go, seeing Scarlett. Merry Christmas late. There's a middle blocker to pair with Reagan Engler. They're going to be a fun duo out there. She comes from Oregon State. She led the Beavers in blocks. That's what she does with 111. But she also ain't afraid to get out there and get some points. She had 132 kills as well. Just sneaky in there, sneaking over some as well as blocks and doing all the things. So
amazing.
Solid pickup. We needed that from a roster. Just our novice skills looking at the roster. I think it was clear we needed that. And they got it done. So yeah, volleyball keeps doing it. That we'll see if they're more quiet from now on. I don't know what else they might be doing, but who knows? They've
I
been
know.
working out there, so
Yeah.
good job for that staff. They're hungry. You can see that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So really exciting news for volleyball as we continue to look forward to next season with them. And I think that's all that we have, Shelby. Do you have any other last minute
That's all I
thoughts
can
other
think of.
than y'all have a
Yeah,
lot
to
of
the-
things to watch
Yeah,
and
we're
to
getting into the time of year where there's Texas Tech sports happening. We're gonna do our best to cover all of them. We obviously only have so many hours in the day, so we'll shift where the height of one basketball's going on, and then we'll dive into softball more in depthly, and shift around to track and all of them. We're gonna try to do our best. But as fans, just go to the games. Get out there to basketball this weekend. Please then go ahead and buy your tickets for women's basketball next week. Can't emphasize enough how big that game is against Iowa State. They could maybe be top 25 again, depending on how their game goes on Saturday.
Yep.
Either way, they're undefeated right now in Big 12 play, and furthermore, they're reigning Big 12 champs. So get
January
out there.
17th. That's Wednesday, 6 p.m.
Next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Be there. Apparently, it's a blackout. We'll confirm that, but I'm trusting. Our friend RG2 sneaking in right for it is best show on the internet. We love you, man. I agree. We're biased.
Set your DVR.
Set your
Let's
DVR,
go.
like,
That's
subscribe.
some
All the
throwback
things. Can you
right there.
DVR?
Yeah, that's some throwback language there. I'm here for
TiVo?
it.
TiVo?
Dang, we used to record on a tape, didn't we? Anyway, and
It's not
another
like the
thing
children
too.
know how old we are.
Back when I was your age.
The internet didn't
Oh,
exist.
Hey, you know what? It didn't. And what a
Well,
world we are.
It existed. It wasn't public.
Look at
publicly
us
available.
now. Oh my gosh, dude. I can't. Speaking of I can't, what I can do is tell y'all again to watch the NWSL draft tomorrow.
Erica, you don't.
Shelby's
don't
not
do this to
even
us. Just Google it,
focused.
Erica. Sorry, I'm laughing at Erica's question on this.
Clearly. Clearly. But the draft 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on this website. We'll post about it. So go follow us on Twitter, Instagram, here, YouTube,
Everywhere.
wherever you're watching.
We'll figure out how to watch Ion.
Facebook.
Maybe I've seen soccer games on Ion before. They must be partnered with the NWSL in some way for that to be streaming their draft.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's free.
It's got to be.
If not, maybe we'll skirt it and put it on YouTube for y'all until we get shut down.
Cool. We're on all these social platforms, but not for long. We're gonna get blacklisted. But yeah, make sure y'all are following along. Again, love hanging out with y'all, and I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, appreciate it, y'all. Let's go. Wreck 'em. Keep the vibes high. Keep winning games that you need to win in all the sports. And let's go dancing in all the sports. Let's dance in March. Could be a busy March.
Let's dance. Let's dance in the stream.